Yeah, first I want to apologize to everybody. I knew that there was a vacation day in yeshiva, but I was hoping to very much to give a vod the rest of the week. But things just there's an expression in the Gemara and Svarim lo istaya milsa. It didn't happen, and I think that's kind of what happened. Lo istaya milsa. It was on my mind, and before I forget, unfortunately, from the vod perspective, we'll be away the next 2 weeks, so I don't think it's realistic. We'll see. Maybe everybody's next week for sure. Now I'll be traveling, but maybe the week afterwards, perhaps in 2 weeks. But that means it's very likely. Perhaps we'll have a VOD on the 25th, but it's likely the next VOD will only be on February 1st. But you never know. Maybe there'll be something in between, some insight. So, Baruch Hashem, it's we didn't have a VOD next week, and we're not going to have one. We didn't have one VOD last week. We're not going to have one next week, but we have a very special VOD this week. And we're talking about Lo Mikol Adam, and we're going to find by the end of our time together today a unexpected person. I want you to think in your wildest dreams, who would be the last person you would think to learn from? And then we're going to learn a new shot on Lo Mikol Adam, who we do have to learn from. Okay? Now, and I saw this, I'm working with this Pirkei Avos from the Bali Musar. It's called Das Kanim. It's a blue book. Listen, you can't do much better than getting Bali Musar on Pirkei Avos. I mean, this is their field. But I had read a piece a while ago, and I thought for sure we have no shaykhs to that. I have no shaykhs to that, and and that was interesting, but not for us. So I'll tell you honestly, I'm not sure that it's for us, but I want to try. Let's see if it does. And that, friends, as we've said many times, is the mile of avad. Avad is not when you go to a program, when you pay money for a computer course, you're paying money not for the guy to try out some ideas with you. Hey, I was wondering maybe this is how you use AI. Give me $1,000. Oh, sorry, it didn't work. But we had a nice time together, and the lunch was great. No, 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 no. That's not what a course is. They're selling you the Brooklyn Bridge. I mean, or they're selling you something real and saying, no, this can really be helpful to you, etc. So, but in Avad, that's not the point. And why, friends, is that not the point in Avad? Because that's not the way it is in Avodas Hashem, and it's not the way it is in learning, and it's not the way it is in life. Because we're trying to improve. When you try to improve, you run into different ideas and you try things, and sometimes it's a dead end. That's fine because that's how it is. If everybody knew all the time, we're learning in my Mesil Sharm Mesil Sharm explained podcast the idea of Zahiris. Zahiris means that we recognize the Yetzer Hara has a lot of tachbulos and is a ish milchama, he has armimus, and you have to work on to beat him. You don't always have the right plan, but you try something. I tried this, I tried that. You try things. Okay? So listen to this. The Medrash says, Mehechan lamed Avram es Torah. Now first, okay, that was a big introduction to what we're doing. Now the smaller introduction is like this. When I think about what a Talmud Chacham is, my picture of a Talmud Chacham is someone who is a blank piece of paper, a tabula rasa, that's how you say it in Latin, right? A blank piece of paper, like the Mishnah says, halomed, malamed yelad katan is doma to someone who writes on a blank piece of paper, and someone who teaches someone older is like writing on a crossed out paper, right? Back then they didn't have a lot of paper. Now we just throw it out. Back then, you have to push the old handwriting down, and then the paper gets a little like filmy kind of and grayish, granular maybe, and you still have to write on it, right? That's what it's like to teach an older person. But teaching a young person, that's like a fresh piece of paper. Like our paper, a nice piece of A4 paper, A5 paper, you schmuck, you make it shachar al gabi love, and you're good. That is my perception, definitely, and I'm trying to open my mind up to what we're going to talk about today, and I'm sure some of the people listening will get it more than I do, and I have to really work just to get it. So I'm not sharing something that I have worked out. I'm sharing an idea, which is a true idea. You'll see because of where we're coming from. There's nothing to think about. But I do want to make that, to show that default, to show that normal way of thinking, which I think is the way most of us think. Well, you imagine a Talmud Chacham, Shlomo Miller, Chaim Kanievsky, Ron Cutler, a smaller Talmidei Chacham, right? The Shul Rav, there's someone knows, there's someone a posek, etc. He was a blank piece of paper, and he learned lots of stuff, and he remembered enough, and he was osik in chachma enough, and now he knows, just like an expert in physics, lahavdil, an expert in anything, that they started from zero and they built their way up. I think that's how we view it. That's definitely how I view it. That's how I view myself. That's how I view others. Okay, important to hold that picture. So it says this is Rabbi Yerucham. Again, the downside with this book is it doesn't tell you where. Rabbeinu Yerucham Alevi Zal, where? Tell me. Okay, maybe the next Hotzah. Hine Isa imagine Mechan Lamed Avram as a Torah. Me'atzmo Lamed Torah. From himself he learned the Torah. Shnei Drachav Yaskva Tosuglev. Okay, we're not. Soda Indian. What does it mean that Avram learned Torah from himself? A concept that we say all the time. Everybody said it before. Did you ever think what it means? Soda Indian. Ki Torah Shi Racham Me'eretz Mida. The Torah which is so wide. Barucha Me'eretz Mida. Racham Mina Yam. It's wider, wide. He Atzma Shel Adam. The Torah is the person. The Torah is the person. That Torah which is so wide, that Torah which has Shivim Panim, that Torah which is endless, that is the person. He Atzma Shel Adam, Ha'atzma Shel Adam, hu Tom Shel Torah. Incredible. The etzem of a person is a tom. A tom is like a wide, deep cavity, chasm of Torah. Kol adavar b'shleimuso. V'atari rak begetter his galus mayon hatahom. The Torah is revealing the tahom that's inside of us. And therefore, Kama Tipshi, now Rabbi Yerucham in that context, this is a good example of how the depth of the Bali Musa is thinking and how they were thinking in a Kochas Nefesh, Kochas Adam take away that you see not as much sometimes in Chassidish form. Kama Tipshi Shar Inchi, how foolish the Gemara Makkas tells us at the end of Makkas, how foolish are people who stand for a Sefer Torah and don't stand for a person. Who Sefer Torah Miti? Because the Gavar is a Sefer Torah Miti. Now, why? Now, Schoonmaker says because he's written on his blank paper the Torah. So therefore, that's why the Gavar Rabbah, that's Reb Chaim Kanievsky is the Torah, because he wrote on his blank neshama the Torah. That's how Rabbi Yerucham says. Hator he atzmi asadim. Torah is the etzem of the person itself, and the Torah is being revealed in the person. The person is a source of the Torah, and Avram Hivin me atzmo the Torah. And again, something we would have said is only Ma'alos Avos. Rabbi Yerucham is saying that that's what's going on in the time of the Amoraim also. Because Rav, when he said Kama Tipsha, Rav was an early Amora, okay, maybe 200, but 2,000 years ago, not 3,300 years ago, or Avram was 4,000 years ago, right? The perception of Rav, according to Rabbi Yerucham, was that people are foolish because they don't stand for a person who's the Atzmis of the Torah, not because it's imprinted on him, because he's a source of Torah, not because of what he's learned, because it's in him. Who sowed ha'inyan she'tor shebal peh lo ninali kasav? This way you can't write the Torah shebal peh. But how can you write it? How can I write a person? Let me write all of a human being, right? I happen to, those who know me know I like biographies. I can explain why. Now's not the time. But you're never getting the whole of the person when you write a biography. Of course, you're getting Gedolim biographies, right? You're not getting the whole of the person. You can't. How can you write Reviving Color up? How can you write Refender up? You can't, right? So the Ribono Shalom, in his infiniteness, knows how to write the Torah Shebechsav and make that the whole Torah Shebal Peh is hinted at. Chai Olam Nata B'Sochenu. Eternal life he put in us. So the Gra says, Nasan la Torah Emes is Torah Shebechsav. B'Chai Olam Nata B'Sochenu. And the Chai Olam he put inside of us is the Torah Shebal Peh. That's the Gra. Heinei Dvarim Shekasavnu. Ki Torah Shebal Peh Netu B'Tochenu. The Torah is in us. Charutim Gnuzim B'Toch Atzma Shalom. It's in the person itself. It's in him. Even now, today, when we can write the Torah Shebal Peh, that's because Veis Lasal Hashem. But it's Hafaras Torah, right? Then when we write our thoughts, when a Talmud Chacham, when Moshe Feinstein writes Igros Moshe, it's Hafaras Torah. Now, we don't imagine and know a world without it, so we don't think of it like that, right? And a lot of other things, a lot of other Hafaras Torahs we have to worry about, but that's really what's happening. Moshe writing himself down and saying, this is Moshe Feinstein, is Hafaras Torah, because it's much more than that. It's the Atzma Shel Adam. It's on the part. It's in his heart. The Torah is in the Moshe Feinstein's heart, not on the paper. Ba'atzma shel adam. Kmochen harbei doris meis kabbalah satar shabal pem misina ad tekufas mishnah shaylam riboy chachma ad ein sof v'chol zos lo yitir lechozman b'shum ofen. Now listen to this. This is a fascinating ma'isa. I never heard this before. The Alter of Kelm, Heviel Zeh Ma'isa. He brought this concept, right? This is Rabbi Yerucham speaking. Rabbi Yerucham learned in Kelm, and he brought a ma'isa from the Alter of Kelm that the Alter of Kelm used to say. There was a philosopher that went to learn by his teachers, and he learned a tremendous amount, and he had a tremendous amount of ksavim. How would you look at that? Givaldig, right? Givaldig. I went to learn by, we don't go to learn by philosophers, but you go learn by, I went to Eretz Yisrael, and I wrote down every shir that Rabbi Asher Arieli wrote, and I know them. Wonderful. He wrote clearly, wonderful. Maybe publish it one day. No, okay, this wonderful. And then what happened? He was going back to his house, and robbers came on him. And he prayed to them. He says, take anything you want. But I want one thing. Please don't take my ksavim. Right? You can take my clothes, you take my money, you take my mule. The most important, the most chashuv thing I have are the ksavim, what I wrote. And that you can't take away. So he said, why? They showed the mass, and why are you so like hatzi-tatzi about these ksavim? What is it? This is the chachma. This is the chachma that I wrote. What do you say about such a person? Like Givaldig, right? That's unbelievable. His kol atzmo was the wisdom, and all he wanted was the wisdom, and the wisdom was in the ksavim, and he wanted that. So what's the lesson? It's terrible. Chachma like that. Asher nashim yuchli kacho tamimeno, that people can take from you. And again, I'm only bringing this story because the Alter brought it as a sign. That which your wisdom is in a book is a problem. This is not a. If you think I'm making a push for retention of learning, it's not what I'm doing. It's lahedju, not what I'm doing. I do that a lot these days because I just reprinted the sefer and I'm going to a lot of places. My job is to be mafetz it a little bit. I feel shlichus, but I'm not talking about that. We're talking about something. I hate to say it, deeper than my book. It's a deeper point over here. It means that the Torah is supposed to be in the person. It's aliba de, like Rav Tzadok says. It's according to his heart. And what does it mean that your wisdom isn't the ksavim? They didn't mean to say to him, and believe me, let's learn this Maisa. This is a philosopher who went to learn for years, and for sure he knew a lot of what was taught. Sometimes you have someone who just sits in a chair, scribbles and writes and writes and writes. He knows nothing. That's not the point of the Maisa. That's obvious, right? You don't need the Alter of Kelm to bring a Maisa from the philosophers to share that idea. When someone just sits, I've had that sometimes. Someone sits in my chair, writes everything. I don't think they're interested in what I'm saying at all. That for sure is nothing, right? That's not the point of the Maisa. We're talking about it's obvious someone who was involved in the Chachma and valued the Chachma and knew a lot of what was in those pages, and himself, and he was probably at a tremendous level of oneness with those pages. But still, that's not what it means to have Chachma. Now, this is incredible. So how did you understand this till now? I understood this, friends, like this. There was the way Schoonmaker imagined Chachma. A person starts a blank piece of paper, and he writes and writes and writes upon himself Chachma, right? Himself. And now he knows or he doesn't know, he forgot, he didn't forget, etc. Rabbi Yerucham is saying, no, that's not the point. It's that that's not Me'atzmo Lamed Torah. That's just, as opposed to having AI tell me the answer, now I can produce the answer myself. There's something deeper, and I don't even know how to say it exactly. Again, I told you, I'm working with this idea. There's something deeper that the understanding of the wisdom is something from inside of you. It resonates with you. It's one with you, and I think the point is, I'll be what he said before. It's part of your personality, and now you're like, so to speak, coming in touch with something you know. You get it that when we say that Avram is Chesed, Yitzchak is Gvura, it's not just because associatively I know what Yitzchak is, I know what Avram is, I know what Chesed is, I know what Gvura is, and now I can put it together on a piece of paper. There's something deeper about your understanding, which comes from you as a neshama, which comes from you as a soul, which comes from you as a ruach mamala, which comes from you as a nefesh chaya. I don't know, but that it's in you. It's in you sometimes without being taught. That's what it means, Avram. Because again, what are we coming back to? Rabbi Yerucham's coming back to Meichen Lamed Avram as the Torah. Me'atzma Lamed Torah. He learned it from himself. What does that mean? Me'atzma Lamed Torah. That means that it's his the hood in the person. Rabbi Yerucham saying that's shaykh, not just in that generation. It's an incredible idea. Avram, you with me? Yeah. It could be even more what the angel taught you, but it's something like that. It's like what the angel taught you. Maybe it's even without the angel teaching me. I'm not sure. I was wondering, is it that the angel taught me, but it's like a deja vu. It's a deja vu, meaning what's deja vu? I remember I was here sometime, but I don't remember. No. There's some shaykhus. There's shaykhut. There's a connection to the wisdom that it's not just again. The reason I said it, and that's what I'm good at understanding the newness of ideas, can understand the oldness of ideas. The reason I've heard this idea 100 times, and I read this, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I said I'm not even going to deal with it because there's no shaykhus to us. And for some reason, I read it again today, and it said, oh, that maybe that has some shaykhus to us. Maybe this is something for us to work with because my normal way of looking at things isn't the way I wrote the book isn't with this. This is not mentioned in my book at all. My whole book is about how to retain. It's all in my old approach. That my other way of looking at it, we're all blank piece of paper. We'll have to get wisdom into ourselves, and that's because I don't think we're necessarily up to this. But this is something else that we're sources of wisdom. Just like Avram was a source of wisdom, we're a source of wisdom. And when we're discovering Torah, we're discovering something which is shaykh to us already, which should speak to us. Now, the reason this is so new to us is because, well, what does it mean? I intuitively think an idea, and you'll prove to me I'm wrong, and I say, oh yeah, you're right, I'm wrong. That's not what Borah is. It's Borah. I thought Borah was this. It's that. I don't know how to explain it exactly. Obviously, you can't bring proofs. You say like, oh, I spoke to my chavrus. My chavrus has 5 proofs that borer has nothing to do with what I think it is. But I say no, but that's what I think it is because me'atzmi lamatar. That's obviously nothing, right? So that's why the most I think we can understand is something about like something that resonates with us, something that we have a sense about, something that feels true. But we have to use we have to use the mathematical approach to things. But then afterwards, that it's going to ring with us as something that we understand, something we see. I hear that, I see that, like we say today. Now watch this. This really blew me away. The room goes on. Wow. Now he's going back to Rabbeinu Yonah. So I thought that had nothing to do with Rabbeinu Yonah. Ki ha'oves hachacham is avei la'al b'sheinu yodeh klum harizeh nikra chacham. Ki me'ach she'oves hacham, someone who loves chachma, sheshov v'lo mikolim harizeh sim muvak, she'atzmo etzlo b'shleimus. This is like if you want to know what what the Bali Musar were thinking about, like why people involved in, and I feel it's a shame. I'm someone who gives a Hasidic shir every week, and I love Hasidus, right? But it's a shame that people don't understand the depth that's in the Alter of Kelm. They understand the depth that's in Rabbi Yerucham, the Taras Avram, the Alter Slobodka. This unbelievable depth. The way that they were seeing things in Chachma is unbelievable. So he says this is the point. Because someone who knows nothing and is mis'ava l'chachma, it means his atzmo is matukin. He's the one who's ready for everything we're speaking about. That's an unbelievable connection. It means why is it so unbelievable to me? Because we're talking about what it means that myself is a source of wisdom. In me is wisdom, right? And now Rabbi Yerucham is saying, and the person who learns from everybody, right? So that's not like he's not. It's counterintuitive. So I'm learning from everybody means I don't have anything in me. No. The opposite. The fact that you're learning from everybody is a sign that your atzmo is fixed, and that's why you're a chacham because you have the fixed chachma. It's so counterintuitive. That's why you need a brilliant person who's looking at something on a much deeper level than we understand it. I could never, in 1,000 years, I would have never made that connection. If I'm learning from everybody, if I'm so mis'avel chachma, if I don't mind going over to a 5-year-old taxi driver, an Arab, a non-Jew, a Jew, religious person, not religious person, different, Hasidish, Dati Lumi, whoever it is, wisdom. If I'm ready to learn from everybody, that means my essence is so aligned with Chachma that I'm a Chacham because I have this point in me. Incredible. Shishol, the person Shishol v'lomi mikolav hareza sim muvik sha'atzmo etzlo b'shleimus lezos hareza nikra Chacham ki ba'atzmo tu atar shleimus. That's the point. It's not that again. I always learn this from Rabbeinu Yonah, friends, my way, that we're all blank papers, blank, no starting point, and the person who's so mis'ava l'chachma is someone who's going to write lots and lots and lots and lots of stuff on his paper. So he's going to have lots and lots of papers in the end of the day. Maybe some of them will be on the computer, some of them will be in his handwriting, some of them will be in his head if he has a good memory. But it's all about writing the papers. That's how I always understood Rabbi Yerucham and Rabbeinu Yonah. And and I've said this Rabbeinu Yonah over 10 times. And when I read Rabbi Yerucham, I can't say I've changed my pshat, but or I could teach this in a regular shmooze or something. But Rabbi Yerucham saying, no, that's not the point. That's not the point. It's not that he's writing lots of books in himself. It's not that he's going to be able to write lots of books. It's that that's a sign that the Chachma is in him already, that he's in touch, he's pure to wisdom. It's incredible. Ki ba'atzmina tu atar b'shleimus. Ve'enot sarch elo hotzi elak min ha'koch al ha'pol. V'sod ha'inin hu shebekoch kvar kol ha'kol. Ve'apol eno elas galas ha'bekoch. And therefore he's going to get there. You'll see the real Chachma in him eventually because it's there. It's like, I'll give you a dugma that we understand more in our old way of thinking. We all understand that Torah is related to Tahara and good midas, right? So someone comes in, someone goes to yeshiva, he's a masmid and he has Tahara and he's good, he doesn't have any kina. So you understand he's going to become wise, right? So that's still in the old model. Here, Rabbi Yerucham is saying that someone who's always looking to learn from everybody, that means that he's aligned exactly as he should be with his essence, that his essence is an essence which is going to come out. Who has the essence that's going to come out, and who doesn't have the essence that's going to come out? That's the problem. That's the question, right? A lot of people, their essence isn't coming out, right? I don't even know how to, I don't have any, beside more than someone tells me about it, a reliable source, I wouldn't know what it means, right? If someone came to the yeshiva and said, Rabbi, I'm coming to, for you guys to unleash my essence, I'd say, maybe try another yeshiva, Tzfat, maybe, we're not unleashing essence in Shapell's. We're really good at teaching people how to go through steps right? No, here the point is it's unleashing essence. It's inside of us. It's so deep in us. It's so pneumius to us. It's so connected to us. And now he has to. And it's not what Yerucham blew me away is. Do you understand what he's saying, friends? It's not just Avram Lamed Chachma and it has no shaykhs. Avram Lamed Chachma, and that's Kametib Shoy B'nei Adam in Zman Amraim, and that's us today. That's us today when we're Lomi Mikol Adam. If we're true Lomi Mikol Adam, you're on a continuum with Avram Avinu. Not that the way I learned it till now, or the way I approach that. Of course, I, like all of you, heard 1,000 times Avram Me'atzmo Lamed Torah means that Avram was an outlier, something totally different, no shaykhs to us, no shaykhs to our generation, and it was a different way of the Torah. And now we have books in Baruch Hashem. Now we have books, and thank God there's a historical oddity called Avram Avinu. But by the way, well, hold on, I'll say that by the way in a second. But now it's not. Rabbi Yerucham is saying no. Avram Lamed Torah is shaykh to us. Wisdom is in us. And the one who's let me call them is part of that line. And the person who doesn't learn me call them, right? The person has gaiva or thinks he knows everything or isn't that interested. Oh, so his whole yachas to chachma that's a sign that he's not fixed. He's not pure. He's not in touch with himself. He doesn't have an essence that's coming about. He might know a lot, and if you think about it, Art and I could think of someone, but we could think of people that was Toelis, but whatever you do. But you think about people who know lots and lots and lots. But they don't feel like they have any shaykhs to Torah. Everything the Torah is supposed to be pole in a person. The dinas hanefesh, the fineness, the good midas. You don't see it. You don't see on certain people. Ashrei Aviv Shalom the Torah, Ashrei Rabbi Shalom the Torah. Blessed is his father, blessed is Rabbi Shalom the Torah. Because there's no shaykhs between his essence. He's just something. So it's something incredible. I think it's something incredible. I'm excited. I'm very very excited to share this because I think it's really, again, for me, I don't know if anybody can appreciate how big a chiddush is because I wrote a book totally built the other way. You know what I'm saying? And my whole essence, and so much, I don't want to say my essence, but I have so much invested in that, and it's still right. My book is right, but it's incomplete. So, I'm still going to sell my book, and I'm putting out a book. It's very what? I can't see. It's very what? It's
Mukrach. Mukrach.
without, no, because, no, I just keep going because what? Please speak.
I wrote that I think this Rabbi Yerucham is sort of mukrach because without this pshat and Rabbi Yonah, it's very nice that this guy loves wisdom and he's a mavakesh
Right,
and
right,
therefore he's willing to learn from everybody. But right now he's an Amaretz. He doesn't know
right,
anything, and therefore for
right,
Chazal to say, "Oh, he's a chacham right now,"
right.
to
Very
give him a
nice.
call of kavod that he's going
Right,
to
right,
get
very
there,
nice.
that's very good.
Right,
But
right,
according
very
to Rabbi
nice.
Yerucham, that it's a simon that he's filled with chachma right now, and
Right,
that's
right,
why he's being
right,
mavakesh from
right,
everybody. That's very good.
right,
So in
right,
other words,
right. Very
this
nice,
Rabbi
very
Yerucham is
nice, very
kamat.
nice.
You need this Rabbi Yerucham to explain this Rabbi Yonah
Right.
almost.
Okay, here, Yeshakov, Yeshakov. So both say, but I already agree though, it's very important for me to show the other way of looking at the world. And that's, guys, that's what
Sure.
it means. That's what it means. Why did I not want to? This is important for everybody. I'm not patting myself on the back. I want to show. That's what it means to be real with things. Meaning, I read the Ruchim. I didn't want to say it over to you because I had no tfisa in it, and it so runs against the way I look at things that I didn't even know how to present it. And just to say a cool Kabbalistic idea, that's the exact opposite of Avad. But then when I reread it again, I saw that no, this is something that maybe we could work with, something we could understand. But to see that, I had to highlight how my thinking is different than that, where this could take us, etc. Otherwise, that's what people just read like these, crazy Hasidic svarim or crazy ideas. It's all disconnected, even on a on an intellectual level. There's no connection. You're just saying words. So you have to think like, where's this idea? Okay, so this is pretty cool. So I think it's incredible. Um, so so what do we do with this? Why did I mention this? At the end of the day, we are a practical VOD. So I want to work with this idea. Could be traveling is a good time to work on it. Could be traveling is a bad time. Anyway, I have this week until then. It's a pretty bit of a busy week for me, but definitely, I think this needs friends to get into this. Listen carefully. We always talk about like thinking about something for 2 minutes or 4 minutes. I think this needs deep introspection um, because it's really an out there idea or in their idea, and I think you have to give yourself a good 10 minutes and think about it a lot and really you know and think about it. Like what? And so not going with the Reuben will say. Here's what I wanted to say. Not going with the end part of what Reuben said. Halom Mikolam is ourselves. Remember, I told you have a surprising person to learn from, right? To learn from yourself. It's worth coming to hear that. Now, seriously, means we never approach ourselves that we have no like, you know, I not just because I've acquired something as a human being that hopefully like again now maybe we're not alone we call them right so maybe it could be we're off the grid I don't know maybe all of us are off the grid and maybe we have nothing to offer besides our technical sound bites of knowledge perhaps but maybe we have shaykhs to wisdom inside of us and it's hard to figure out because how do you figure out like what's you and what's what you've heard. I don't know. I don't know exactly how to work with this, but I want to try, right? But it's gonna, yeah, you have to really think about it. Like, really, like, here's some questions which maybe will help people focus. What wise attitudes do I have? What wise inclinations do I have? Right? Not necessarily just what I've acquired. You have to think, it's not just things that I've acquired. I read a book and now I know this idea, but like what's in me, what's ringing in me. Maybe we can make three levels there's things I've just acquired knowledge. I'm really connected to this knowledge, acquired, connected, and then really like coming from me. Now, maybe that third level is something which is too deep for us to really know or to acquire. But I think we can all relate to things that like this. I read a book and I got XYZ, you know, and then there's things I'm really, really shaykh to. That's maybe the way we start thinking about it, right? There are things that I'm very close to. There's wisdom that I know. I read the rule book and it says you have to do X, Y, Z, so I do X, Y, Z. So I'm following the halacha, or I'm following the rules. I'm parking correctly. There's things that are like connected to me. So what I want everybody to think about is like in ourselves, what do we have to teach ourselves? What parts? What wisdoms do we have which are deeper in us than things that are just embellished onto us from other people or from other sources, or that where is it that we had those deja vu moments or those aha moments or that aha tfisa like this is really how I see things, you know. Atachoni ladam das. So Rabbi Avram ben Agra says that atachoni ladam das is that there was an unbelievable chanina of from the beginning, right? A human being knows a tremendous amount. I think here we see it a little bit, right? Not in Chacham Torah, it's difficult. Like, what does it mean that I see Bora? What does it mean that I see what does it mean that I see Gidre can't believe the Rabbine? Like, what does it mean? That's hard to understand what it means. But we all know things, right? Human beings know a lot. Ata chonin l'adam dasum lamed lenu shmina means man wakes up, mankind. Adam Rishon. That's Adam. That's why it's Adam. Ata chonin l'adam das. That Kadosh Baruch Hu was chonin us with a tremendous level of das. Adam has enormous das from the beginning. Afterwards, you learn the Chacham Avina das, and you produce more. But there's a certain there's a tfisa inherent in us. It's that way about like where am I inherently? What do I inherently know? And this would really be the scar of the whole thing. What what are things? Listen to this one. Where are attitudes, inclinations, knowledge that's in me that I have in me, but I'm not. It's not part of my conscious reality. Like to bring up, meaning I want to deal with a problem. So I think, oh, what I hear from this rabbi, what I hear from that rabbi, what I hear from the other. Like, what answers do we have inside of ourselves that really we really know in our side of ourselves, and we have to bring that up, bring it from the like Rabbi Schoonmaker saying, "Min hakoach el hapoel," to bring it into our lives a little bit from ourselves. That would be the low we call Adam, to learn from ourselves, like not just and that really takes a lot of quiet because here it is. I want to know how to do something. I have a relationship problem, so I'm going to go to a relationship expert. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to no. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit quietly with myself and say like. And not just here's the first level. Sit quietly myself and say, what do I know about this topic? What have I heard? This is level. I'm sorry. Let's go through all the process. I'm having a problem with the relationship with my sister, right? My brother. I don't have a brother, so make it a hypothetical situation. I'm having a problem with a brother. So now, so I don't know what to do. We fight every time we see each other. Okay. Here's the totally chitzonistic way of viewing it. Go to relationships expert, go to mediator, go talk to someone with your brother, maybe without your brother, get some skills, etc., and start putting it into practice. Okay, here's step one, the level one inside yourself. No, you have answers to this already yourself because you've already gone to a lot of relationship experts and you read a lot of books, right? Step three is no, you have answers because you do know answers to this question. Now, there's another step, which is here's the two levels. In that, it might be it's just because it's become, you've it's just things you've taken out from outside of yourself and you know the answers inside yourself, or it's coming from a deeper place in you that even without anybody telling you, you know how to deal with this question, right? That I'm not exactly sure how to differentiate that. I don't know. Maybe if we discover, but that's what I'm looking for. When we have an issue, I'm going to speak to the expert, going to read a few books, watch some YouTube videos. That's going to tell me what to do. Or no, I'm going to now think, what have I already heard on this? I'm going to quiet things down a little bit. Shh. What do I know about this topic? Deeper. Now, what do I know about this topic from other people? What's part of my tfisa? What's part about my attitudes towards life, which I can use? And then in that, are those attitudes which somehow I heard when I was 4 or 5 or something from someone? Or are there even attitudes just from the wellspring of my mind, the wellspring of my soul that I know them? Okay, that's what we're talking about. So it's a lot of hisboneness, something to try and think about one time. We'll see where we go with it. I'm excited to look into it because I've never ever thought in this way before too much. And I'm happy that I feel a little responsible to do it because my nature is just to go back to the books, and I love the books. And like, why should I try to learn for myself when I can learn from the Shemi Shmuel and Rabbi Yerucham? No, but it's not true because if I could touch the wellspring which is in myself, so that maybe a lot of things that will eventually, I guess the idea would be that a person be more intimate and more intuitive about wisdom together with the wisdom outside, and you become more chacham. Okay, so look, maybe we'll try it and we'll say that was nice idea, very interesting, very cool. We'll move on, or maybe we'll really get somewhere. Okay, so I don't know, and I wish everybody luck. All right, I'll see you in a week or 2 or 3. Thank you very much. Shalom, shalom. But I just want to end this and say it's a big idea, not because of mine. It's a Ruchum's idea, and it's not. I remember hearing about this, 30 years ago, 35 years ago. Chayil nata b'sochena. So there's a Rebbe in Reb always used to say over this Quran, Chayil nata b'sochena, and I didn't really relate to it then. I don't relate to it now. It's something, but no, but it's an idea which is out there, which we have to think about a little bit. And if we can get our heads around it, could be to take us, we could really grow from it. and see new vistas, new godless demochen, which we didn't know we had, which we thought was just for like, the Svarim or something. Okay, Atzlacha Rabba, we'll see. Shalom.
Sure.